Ever fancy riding some gravel in a New Forest but you don't know where to start, or you've only got a few hours to spare? Then this route could be for you. Let's do it. My name's Tom, the cycle explorer, and I love riding my bike. And what I also like to do is put together some routes that you can enjoy. So join me in this lovely bit of woodland. I'm making my way over to Lyndhurst for the start. The route's 38 kilometres or 23 miles long, and there is an option to cut it short to 28 kilometres or about 17 miles. So this could be an ideal route to try your first gravel ride, or perhaps it could make a good route for your family whilst you're staying down here on holiday. Anyway, let's crack on and get to Lyndhurst. Start with the ride in the centre of Lyndhurst. It's easy to get to by car. There's lots of shops, cafes, pubs and restaurants. In the car park there's this handy bike stand with tools on it, and it is also home to the Woods Cyclery, which is an amazing bike shop here in the New Forest. And even if you don't own a bike, you can hire yourself a gravel bike, an e-bike or a mountain bike down at the Woods Cyclery, so you too can enjoy this route. First part of this ride is to get out of the car park and get out of Lyndhurst. It's only about a mile on the road, and it's probably the busiest bit of road you'll encounter on the whole ride, although it's not that bad in the grand scheme of things. We leave the car park, we'll be in the high street of Lyndhurst with all those shops and cafes. So this is that busy-ish bit of road. We're only on it for probably less than a mile, and then we turn left and then we're into the woods. Here we are then, out of Lyndhurst, off that road and into the woods. And this first section is a little bit rolly. There's some small uphills and some small downhills, but overall this ride isn't very hilly at all. If you do the whole route, 38k, there is about 250 metres of climbing. The New Forest is pretty flat, so a good place to try your first gravel ride or go for a speedy spin. But obviously what goes up must come down. What we have to look forward to on this route is miles and miles of these lovely gravel paths through the woods, a few little New Forest lanes, and probably only a small amount of mud. It is January and it has been pretty chilly here. This is the first day where the ice has thawed out, but if you do this route in the spring or the summer, you can leave this place just with a bit of dust on your bike and no mud at all. Absolutely lovely to be back out in the woods again after a week back at work after Christmas break. Nice way to relax and unwind. And UK gravel doesn't get much better than this. At the moment making my way south down towards Brockenhurst, which is actually another option where you could start this route. If you don't drive, you could get the train to Brockenhurst. And like Lyndhurst and the Woods Cyclery, there is also Boost Bike Hub and New Forest Cyclexperience where you can hire bikes. So again, you don't even need a car or a bike to come and enjoy a ride down in the New Forest. Quite a few twists and turns in this wood. So ideally, download the GPX from the description below, put it on your Garmin, and hopefully you won't get lost. Looks like the sun could be making an effort to come out. Still rather grey down here. Hopefully if you do this in the spring or the summer, it'll be fantastic sunshine. Around about 7 miles in now. In a minute we're going to cross over a small road and head into Bewley Heath airfield. But don't worry, you won't be encountering any planes. This is a former World War II runway and airfield, and you'll cycle around the perimeter. The only planes actually you might encounter will be a few model aeroplanes flying about. So here's the road. It runs between Brockenhurst and Bewley. You go straight over, following those cycle signs, and then we're on to the old perimeter roads of the airfield. It can get a little bit wet down here if it's been raining. Not really muddy because it kind of sits on top of this concrete, but yeah, if it has been raining you might get your feet wet. Course being the New Forest, lots of New Forest ponies. So just after Bewley Heath airfield, south of Brockenhurst, and this is a big old campsite, which if you're staying down here in the summer, you could just whiz out on your bike and be straight out on this route. What more could you want? And even if you're not camping down here, in these campsites when they're open there are water taps, so you can get yourself some water. Now onto a little road section that takes us down to Brockenhurst. There's a nice downhill, and as you can see it's not very busy, so spin those legs for a couple of miles and you'll be at Brockenhurst for perhaps a well-deserved coffee. We're about to go past the Pig Hotel. So if you're feeling a bit posh, there's the Pig Hotel. But we're not posh today, we're cracking on to Brockenhurst. As you can see from that sign, it's 1 mile to go. Just watch out for this cattle grid. So down in Brockenhurst, just going over the railway line and the train station, which gives you the option to start from here if you've not got a car or want to travel by train with your bike. That's Boost Bike Hub, another place where you can hire a bike from if you've not got one. So we're down in the centre of Brockenhurst, we're going to be going left. If you go straight on down there, there are quite a few cafes and restaurants, or you could stop at Boost Bike Hub, which has also got a coffee van out the back. This is about 10-11 miles into the route, so if you're doing the full route you're getting on for halfway, and if you're doing the 17 mile 28k option you're more than halfway, so this could be an ideal place to stop for a coffee and some refreshments. But no stopping for me today, it's pretty chilly. I've got some snacks with me, so I'm carrying on straight through Brockenhurst and back into the woods on that wonderful gravel. Hello horsey. And just while we're at the kind of halfway point, if you're enjoying this route, I've also made a 50km and a 100km New Forest route, the Nifty 50 and the New Forest Greatest Gravel, and you can find those in the description below. So if this taster route's left you wanting more, check those out for some more fun in the New Forest. Pretty much around the back of Brockenhurst now. We're going to cross over this road and head on to some champagne gravel. If you're enjoying my routes and adventures, I'd love it if you could like this video and subscribe for more. So there you go, back on to that proper good stuff just north of Brockenhurst. So we've come to the bit of the route where you've got to make a little choice. We're about 14.5 miles into the route. So as I said, the full route is about 23.5 miles, and the slightly shorter version is 17. And as you can see, one goes left and one goes right. If you go right, that'll take you straight back to Lyndhurst, probably another 3-ish miles to get back to the car park. If you go left, you get a bonus out and back loop of about 5 miles, so an extra 10k. So if you do choose the bonus route, you get to enjoy some really cool bits in the forest, including this, which always reminds me of Jurassic Park. Those trees growing through what's like a swamp. If it has been raining heavily, this bit of gravel along here is normally like a bit of a river, so you will get your feet wet, but it's quite interesting. So welcome to the New Forest. This bonus loop also features in part on the 100km Greatest Gravel route, because the gravel along here is some of my favourite. Now into the top end of that loop, Rhinefield Drive, and we'll get to see some lovely big trees. And before we get to the A35, we take a right back on to some of that champagne gravel. Another lovely stretch of gravel that'll take us back down to Jurassic Park. So we'll be turning left here, rejoining the route back down to that Jurassic Park section. Back down through Jurassic Park. So we've just gone back past the fork in the route, making my way back to Lyndhurst. And if you're wondering what bike I've done it on today, I've done it on my Trek mountain bike, as you may have seen. The best bike for the route is probably a gravel bike if you want to get round fast, but you can do it on pretty much any bike. You might even do it on a road bike, but you'll probably end up with a puncture or two. So yeah, gravel or mountain bike, e-bikes as well. And if you go to one of those bike shops, they hire both gravel and mountain bikes, and you can also get e-bikes. So even if you've not ridden in a long time, get an e-bike, get out on it and have some fun in the forest. So now onto a little drag that takes us back up to a road, a little country lane that'll have us back in Lyndhurst in no time. Probably one of the longest drags of the route, but it's not too steep and it doesn't last too long. Reaching the top of that drag, we get to a gate. Through the gate, turn right, down the lane, about 1.5 miles, we'll have you back at the car park. Then to the end of that little lane, turning left onto the Lyndhurst one-way system, and then in a minute, or just up here, we turn right to avoid a busier bit of road. Up this little hill, and onto this last little bit, a little bit busy. Normally some traffic as the traffic lights, but not very far. If you're really uncomfortable, you could probably go easy along the pavement or walk along the pavement back to the car park. Back into Lyndhurst High Street, nearly there. To the High Street we take a right, back into the car park where it all began. And there you have it, New Forest gravel taster. There you go, back in Lyndhurst. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Perhaps stop for a drink, some food or a coffee after the ride. And if you enjoyed that, have a look at my New Forest Nifty 50 or my 100k greatest gravel for some more New Forest cycling fun. Till the next time, thank you.